everyone, it is I, your new best friend, the Fable of Fables. We're looking at another recommendation by David, who recommend this is his final recommendation. His final recommendation, the Underbridge Saga, or the story, or the cosmic powered Starscream of the cosmic powered Starscream, which is, to be honest, a story involving the cosmically powered Starscream. Which I'm seriously curious, who in the hell's gave Starscream cosmic powers? It was probably Unicron. Unicron's a dumbass like that. Anyway, let's go.
This month is the 5th anniversary of the basics, and for this birthday episode, there was only one subject I could possibly cover. You've heard me say it over and over again, and this week it's finally time for the basics on the Underbase Saga.
Underbase!
The story of the
I kept calling it the Underbridge. God damn it. I'm so sorry, guys. Anyway, let's go.
Cosmically powered Starscream. The Underbase Saga was a 4-part story published in Marvel's Transformers comic book between August and November.
What is with that face? Jesus Christ. Starscream, stop having that face.
By Jose Delbo, the story ran from issue number 47 to the double-sized issue number 50 and revolved around the treacherous Starscream's efforts to acquire the power of the massive Cybertronian database, the Underbase.
The
Underbase was the greatest storehouse of information in the universe. Constructed long ago by Cybertronian philosophers out of patterns of light, as it grew over the ages, the depth of the knowledge it contained became so cosmically vast that it could grant godlike power to any who bathed in its glow. To prevent the misuse of its legendary power, it was guarded by a sect of neutral Cybertronians led by High Circuit Master Voltax, who converted his body into a mountain-sized temple to contain it. In the early days of the war, Optimus Prime and Megatron fought over the Underbase, until Prime, realizing that it was far too dangerous for any one being to possess, made the decision to launch the Underbase into space to put it beyond Megatron's reach. The Underbase drifted through the galaxy for millions of years, its energy destroying planets and stars with the nearest contact.
Optimus, you idiot. I understand keeping it out of the hands of the Megatron and the Decepticons was a good idea, but instead you ended up doing a lot more harm than good. Oh my god.
In the 18th century, Autobots on Cybertron were able to compute its trajectory and deduced that in the near future it would pass close to Earth. The Autobot cassettes Rain Dance and Grand Slam were dispatched
I didn't know
to
that.
warn of its coming. But their ship crash-landed, and they were left damaged, stuck in tape mode.
No.
Found by a crew of pirates, the tapes eventually wound up in a treasure chest in a shipwreck on the bottom of the Caribbean Sea.
Oh god.
In the present day, the Decepticons discovered the lost Autobot tapes, and from them learned of the Underbase's imminent arrival. Seeking its power for himself, Starscream played the Autobots and Decepticons against each other, luring them into a battle in order to keep them busy while he set off to intercept the Underbase.
And that's how many of the that's how many of the characters got offlined. I hate it.
Realizing they had been duped, the two factions joined forces to stop Starscream, but they were too late. Though the light of the Underbase shone on Starscream for only a moment before Optimus Prime shot him out of its path, the power even this brief exposure conferred on him was beyond measure. Seething with cosmic power, Starscream claimed the Earth as his own and set out to subjugate humankind by destroying New York, Tokyo, and
So that's how Starscream became cosmically powered. It wasn't Unicron, it was because of a different thing. Interesting.
Buenos Aires. But at every location, he was thwarted by teams of Autobots and Decepticons, who he offlined with his new abilities. Their sacrifice afforded Optimus Prime the time he needed to redirect the Underbase back towards Earth, where Starscream eagerly absorbed the entire thing, only to find, as Optimus had learned long ago, that it was too much for any one being to contain. The energies of the Underbase overloaded Starscream, destroying him and seemingly itself as well. The Underbase Saga is primarily remembered for its massive body count.
Yeah, no freaking kidding. How many did you offline in this story? Jesus Christ.
This was Budiansky's way of pruning the comic's oversized cast, phasing out characters from the first 3 years of the franchise whose toys had been discontinued.
I hate it.
The comic had carried out similar deck clearing exercises in the past, dispatching handfuls of characters at a time, but
I
the
hate it.
Underbase Saga was unrivaled. Starscream was shown to deactivate the Aerial Bots, Jetfire, Hound, Bluestreak, Mirage, Hoist, Brawn, Gears, Goldbug, Jazz, the Seacons, Blaster, the Throttlebots,
Jesus.
Thundercracker, Skywarp, the Dinobots, the Predacons, Octane, Astrotrain, Blitzwing, Buzzsaw, Laserbeak, the Technobots, the Terracons, Soundwave, and Omega Supreme.
Oh my god!
Stories indicated that even more victims had been taken out off-panel. Newer characters,
Jesus Christ, though, that is so many of them.
whose toys were still being sold, such as the Headmasters and Pretenders, survived thanks to their organic components.
Yeah, no, they didn't survive because of satanic. Because of those components, they survived because their toys were still being sold. That's freaking stupid.
Which proved resistant to Starscream's attacks. An epilogue for the saga was produced exclusively for the United Kingdom's version of the comic, in which Decepticons Dreadwind and Darkwing were sent to recover Starscream's dead body from where it had fallen in the Peruvian jungle. There, they discovered that his corpse was being animated like a zombie by a lingering trace of Underbase energy.
Jesus
But the pair were able
Christ.
to purge the energy and took Starscream's remains back to Megatron, who had him brought back to life.
Why?
A later UK story saw Megatron travel back in time to Starscream's attack on New York, aiming to save some of the Decepticons from being destroyed, but his efforts to change history were foiled by Prowl. The story of the Underbase was continued over 20 years later in the sequel comic Regeneration 1. This series revealed that long ago, Boltax had been part of a collective of the greatest minds on Cybertron, who all contributed their wisdom to the Underbase. But one of their number, Giaxus, betrayed the rest,
Oh, God.
stealing from the Underbase the knowledge and power he needed to build his own interplanetary empire, then vanishing into space, erasing all record of himself from both his comrades' memories and the Underbase itself to cover his tracks. Giaxus returned 20 years after the events of the Underbase Saga, whereupon it turned out that the ancient database had not been destroyed at its climax after all. As it was composed of pure energy, pure thought, it could never truly be destroyed, and instead had been lying dormant within Starscream, now awakening.
That actually makes a lot of sense, to be honest. You can't destroy pure energy. You can't destroy a thought. You can probably get rid of it or kill it, but eventually it will return. You can't necessarily kill ideas. Not, at least not how people try to, at least.
As it sensed Giaxus's return. Seeking to restore that which he had erased from it, the Underbase possessed Starscream and absorbed Giaxus into itself, then disappeared once more. Now, despite its central role in one of the comic's biggest storylines, the Underbase hasn't really been featured in much media outside the Marvel Universe. It's occasionally referenced here and there, but modern stories usually treat other objects like the life-giving Allspark or the megacomputer Vector Sigma as the ultimate source of knowledge and wisdom on Cybertron. Several series have even shown Optimus Prime doing to the Allspark what he did to the Underbase, launching it into space to prevent its power being misused. Some of the most notable references to the Underbase have come courtesy of the Transformers Collectors Club, inspired by a toy released in the Combiner Wars line in 2016. Cybax was a small Autobot who transformed into a space shuttle and a blaster, and was partnered with the larger bot, Scrounge. Drawing inspiration from his name, ending in Axe, and his all-yellow coloration, the club featured Cybax in several stories that connected him to Boltax and the Underbase in different ways. In one story, Cybax was presented as being a new form for Boltax himself, reborn in a new body. Meanwhile, in the mirror universe of Shattered Glass, Cybax was Boltax's successor as custodian of the Underbase, and allied with the evil Prime, the Fallen, when he offered him the chance to expand the database with knowledge from other universes. One aspect of the saga that does more frequently recur is the concept of Starscream acquiring incredible power and turning on Autobot and Decepticon alike. Some of the most famous such stories include Transformers Cybertron, when he absorbed the power of the Transformers god Primus himself.
Oh my
grew
god.
to the size of a planet. Combiner Wars, in which the power of the divine artifact, the Enigma of Combination, drove him insane.
Of course it
And
did.
Transformers Cyberverse, in which he absorbed the power of the Allspark, and yes, even offlined his own army of followers. And those are the
Starscream,
basics
why?
on the Underbase and the cosmically powered Starscream. After 5 years, just one of the many stories I still have left to tell from the world of the Transformers. Whether you
Starscream, why are you like this? Why do you keep offlining folks? Stop it. Get some help. Just get some help, Starscream. Stop it. Get some help. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you, David, for this recommendation again. But I hope you enjoyed it. I learned a little bit. I learned a lot. I kind of hate the fact that they offline so many boys, so many of my boys, those monsters. Anyway, if there's anything else you want me to recommend, feel free to do so. I'll get to it eventually. I'll get to it eventually whenever this will pop up. We'll see what happens. Anyway, love you all. Y'all want to support me? There's my Ko-Fi link. Thinking of opening up a Patreon. Maybe you guys would be interested in me watching certain content I don't want to post on YouTube or some channel or some old shows, so we can talk about our old favorite shows like Metabots or something. I don't know. I don't think I'll be able to find it. Or Ultimate Muscle. I'd be more than happy to watch Ultimate Muscle. Ultimate Muscle. Ultimate Muscle. Back on Muscle Plan. Okay, I'm gonna be that's my head now. Anyway, I love you all. Bye.